homeschooling in Italy is absolutely legal. We are actually very, very lucky because we homeschool thanks to our constitution. The Italian constitution states that the parents are responsible for the child's education. So they are placed in number one position, even before the state, as for those who have to take care of the education of the child. And so thanks to this, we are free to homeschool.
Tell me a bit about the movement in Italy. How is it organized? Is it organized in any way? Are associations of some kind, formal organizations that put together the homeschooling movement in Italy?
Well, there is no formal organization. There's a group. There's Educazione Parentale, which is a website dedicated to homeschooling families and to those who would like to do it in the future. Maybe they have kids in preschool age. So we chose not to be an association. We prefer to be a network of parents working together to spread information, to help each other. We seeked legal advice several times as a group, and even to help individuals. So we're working like this, and for now it's working very well, even if we are not an association. So as long as it's fine like this, as long as everybody is happy, we're going to keep it this way. So there's this, as I was telling you, there's educazioneparentale.org, which is this network, plus my personal blog, Contro Scuola, which helps a lot of families, gives out free information and also activities, workouts, websites, useful links. And there's a forum where people can get together.
What are the families like, the Italian families that homeschool? If you had to make a portrait about them, how would you describe them? Is there any common trait?
Well, we have to say, first of all, so Italy is a boot, and many homeschoolers are up north, and many. Obviously, it's a very small population. We don't have clear numbers. We don't know because a few are underground and others are not registered, and obviously they're not on our website. So more or less, we count 400 families, and most of them are up north, I was saying. And in the south, not so many. While in Sicily, for example, Sicily is very active as an island, Sardinia much less. But anyhow, the main group of homeschoolers is in the upper regions. And what do they have in common? Well, obviously in common, there's the desire to educate their children and, take advantage of this possibility. And so the willing to put time forward to do this. Secondly, but not in every family, but there are numerous kids in these families. So let's say Italy has a very low rate of birthing. So it's very strange when you have 3 kids, 4 kids, and most homeschooling families do have 2 or more kids. But this is not, I don't have statistics at hand, so it's kind of difficult to say. Of the ones we know, they are large families, considered large here, let's say.
All right. And from what you know, is there any common ground regarding reasons for homeschooling? Because in the States it seems all the data says it's more about religion. It's a religious issue in the States, not 100%, but a big percentage. And what about Italy?
No, there is not that purpose here in Italy. Most families do it simply because they either don't have a good school, a school they think is appropriate for their child in the area. We've had many economical problems in Italy, and like in many other states, they're cutting funds, and what goes down first is school quality. So this difficult situation that schools are going through is obviously bringing more people towards homeschooling, towards the decision of taking care of their children's education. So I have to say they are probably, most of them are probably unhappy with what state schools and private schools are doing in this country nowadays.
And do you Italian homeschoolers get together sometimes? And are there meetings? Because here in in Catalonia, it's in some parts there are active groups that get together weekly, monthly, twice a month, things like that. Does that happen in Italy too?
Well, I must say that this is pioneer land. Italy is like just beginning to grasp the meaning of what home education is. This is the early times of the phenomenon. Despite the fact that there were homeschooling families even 20, 25 years ago, and so we do have some sort of second generation, but it was completely for different reasons, and it was always, as you said, maybe in the past it was more linked to religious movements, even here. But because of this, it was very, very small as a movement. And so right now, what's going on is that it's gaining more and more popularity. We are having also a lot of interest from the media, and I could say, like, last 2 years, we've been. Personally, I must say I've been trying to put out as much information as I could, through networking and all the rest. We do create meetings. At this point here, there are mostly meetings for people who want to know the ABCs of homeschooling, because most of the people don't know it's legal. And so we're organizing meetings throughout the regions, usually northern regions. We've been to Tuscany 3 times, and in Veneto and Lombardy and in other places, to tell people what it is and how it works and how they have to move to, make everything right and follow the legal route you have to follow for this. Then again, we try to create some play dates, some global play date, things like this, but it's just the beginning. Mm-hmm. So we have done it in Milan. Milan is a big city. We try to do it elsewhere. It's just starting now. There are a few families, and they're spread in different places. So it's kind of hard at this time.
What about the state? Do you have problems with the state officials? Are they aware of what homeschooling really is and the legal status in Italy?
Well, there is a lack of information, I must say, and the gap is getting thinner and thinner, though, because information is coming out, and we are getting all this attention through the media, and people are becoming to be more aware. It does happen sometimes that families have to explain to the officials what homeschooling is, and bring the paperwork and everything. Paperwork, which is the Constitution, the Italian Constitution mainly. So the Ministry of Education did some circular letters, produced some evidence that, they know how to deal with homeschoolers, although it is not clear what their position is. For example, a big debate was open on the end of the year exam. Now, this end of the year exam was believed to be obligatory for all homeschoolers. But as we found out by contacting a lawyer and getting some legal advice out there, we understood that this is not the case, because there is no law. There is no law that states what homeschoolers should do and if this exam is obligatory or not. The ministry advises officials to check that the kids are taken care of. They suggest that there is this exam at the end of the year, but there is no evidence that this is a law or anything. It's just a suggestion. So in many cases, families have no problem at all. They just have to notify every year that they are taking care of their child's education, and that goes smoothly on. They don't even have to present a curriculum or anything. In just a few cases, we've had some problems arising when the officials didn't know what position to take and thought that this examination was obligatory. In this case, they sent several letters and threatened to send social services to the family. Obviously with a good lawyer, with a few letters and bouncing the ball back and forth. At the end, nothing really happened because there is no law.
Okay. What about the titles? If you want to have your diploma, or if you want to go to college or something, and you are homeschooled in Italy, what's the system? How do you do it if you're a kid and and you are, I don't know, 16, 18, whatever the age is, and you want to go to college or get your degree, how do you do it?
Well, as I told you, this is pioneer land. So we're kind of asking ourselves these same questions you're asking me, because there are no children, or very few children, and at the moment we're not aware of anyone who is 18 and has been homeschooling throughout all those years. So we want to find out. What we know now is that the best thing to do is to take an exam at the end of a schooling cycle. That is in 5th grade, which is called quinta elementare.
What age is that?
That is at 10.
Okay.
It depends on the child, obviously. It could be a little bit earlier, it could be a little bit later, but it's around the age of 10. They should take this exam. Then they should take one at the end of middle school, which is terza media. So at that point, they can do their last 5 years and before university, do maturità, which is like the baccalaureate in France, and other similar examinations which take place at the age of 18. And at that point, they can enter university, obviously taking the exams according to which faculty they have chosen. So this is our guess and our belief, but it must be like this. They have to, as private members, as private students, they have to enter and do this examination at a state school in order to obtain the possibility to advance to the following step. So these 3 exams, and then obviously an exam to enter the faculty in university.
Okay, but I understand that so far these exams are voluntary.
Yes, they are voluntary, because at this point, being no examination obligatory, it's the parents of the child who present a letter asking the school to examine their child. This is the point that I have always questioned, because at the beginning, when everyone was thinking that everyone thought that the examination was obligatory, I was wondering, then why was it our responsibility to demand it, to ask for it, and then the school had to confirm or not? So at that point, that made no sense to me, because if it were obligatory, we just had to go in and do it, and then why asking? So when we found out that this was exactly the point, there is no obligation to take the exam, then it makes it clear that if the parents want to examine the child, they can do it every single year. They could take an exam every single year, and the school will provide with teachers and all the necessary time to do so. It's the parents' choice. That's how it is. So even in 5th grade, in 3rd grade, middle school, and then the maturità are all things that the parents will decide, and then move forward towards the school and see what they say.
It seems similar to what they have in the UK, maybe, or some parts of the States. It seems similar to that.
Yes, it seems similar. Now, we're at the moment, I don't know if the Ministry of Education is interested in changing things, or if they're, okay with how things are. We personally are happy with how things are working. It could be better in the sense that there could be more information out there, and the school officers, the school districts should be more informed, in my opinion. So going forward, we will have a little more awareness on their side in order to how to treat us and how to dispose of us, because basically what they are worried is when someone comes up and says they're a homeschooler is, what am I going to do with them? Because there is no law, there is no black and white writing that says what to do. So for them, that is what's hard. They don't know exactly what to do and how to take care of our children.
Well, I guess what they have to do is only check that the kid is okay, and that's it, right?
Yes, but in many cases they don't even do that. They don't check if the child is okay, because all we need to do is we could also just write a letter and send a letter, and at that point we are okay, because we sent this annual letter, and we informed them that we are taking care of the child's education. The social services are usually come from the mayor, from the town, from the city hall. It's difficult that it comes through the school at this point.
And what about society? What does society think in Italy? I guess it's a very diverse society with difference, north, south, and Rome. But what do you think? What do neighbors, family members, friends in Italy think?
where obviously family members, people who are close to us, our close friends, see the children often and do see the great improvements they are making every day, and their joy and their happiness and their constant inquiries. And so this shows them that we are doing the right thing, and that the children are blooming beautifully. So that is not a problem for us. In particular, I know about other families, other parents who have had problems with grandparents and close relations, just because this thing is unheard of. And so people are suspicious and worried. But once they see how things proceed and how well the child can come up in this way of in a friendly environment, in a friendly learning environment, then they stop worrying. Instead, talking about society in general, I personally have witnessed a big difference between younger people, let's say age 20, 30, 35, and 40 and onwards, because people who are a little more mature are actually with homeschoolers. And when we explain what we are doing, they are for homeschoolers. They appreciate the idea. They think it's a great change. They think that more people should do it. While younger people, it's amazing to me, but younger people do not understand the importance of this possibility of the freedom to homeschool. It's very, very strange, but I'm not the only person who noticed this. There's this age gap. It's like people who are more mature and have seen more things tend to have a larger picture, a broader mind, let's say, and see all the positive aspects of homeschooling, while younger people who have just finished university or are a little more indoctrinated on what is schooling.
Mm-hmm. And what about the media, the Italian media? Do they talk about homeschooling ever? And if they do, what do they say?
Well, we've had a few interviewers come, and there've been 4 or 5, maybe 6 articles published in the last year talking about homeschooling and what it is. There, as I told you, as the meetings we have around here, they're informative articles, because people are unaware. So instead of having a debate, maybe there is very little as a debate, but most of the articles are to explain what it is. I think that in a second phase, probably in the next years, we'll go through the debate phase, where people will come up and we're going to have a discussion on pros and cons. But this is not yet here. It's too early. People yet don't know what it is. So most of the communication that the media are giving is, did you know that it is legal to not send your children to school? Did you know that you have, as a parent, possibility to keep them home and educate them yourself? So this is the lines that are following in all the articles that came out on the media this year. Very, very, very popular this year, I must say, if we compare it to the past years.
Well, Erika Di Martino, thank you very much for explaining us all these things about Italy and giving us all this information about legal stuff and day-to-day life of homeschooling families in Italy. It has been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Erika.
Thank you, Juan. Bye.